communities of East Anglia and of the Moray Firth, whose livelihood has been the herring.
Well, up jumped the herring, the king of the sea. Say he to the skipper, look under your lee. Singing windy old weather, boys, stormy old weather. When the wind blows, we'll all go together.
You've got to be out there at night, waiting for them to swim.
With our nets and gear, we're faring.
Of course, that's a wonder too. Pick one of them little fish up and that's vibrant with life. Brrr! Look at that. You realise that's only worded. Millions and millions and millions. Oh, and the little people swim up, they rarely do it. It's there on the deep that we harvest and recover. There's no lazy men when herring are about.
As we hunt the bonny shoals of herring.
When you're doing well and catching fish, they talk to them all the time. Come on, swim up the little dowlands, swim up. And they absolutely cajole them into the net. And wherever the herring are, the fishermen will go after them. That might be 200 miles off Aberdeen on the Norwegian deep water, or Shields. Oh, if the herring are there, you've got to go and get them. Come on, you gallant fishermen, and climb the stormy sea. The whole year round, on fishing grounds of the northern beach and the Norway deeps, on the banks and knolls of the North Sea walls, and the herring shoals are found. It's there you'll find the Norfolk boys and lads from East ahead. There's one each year, and they'll roll shields on the northern beach and the Norway deeps, on the banks and knolls of the North Sea walls, and the herring shoals are found. From Fraserburgh and Aberdeen, from Whitby on the town, the fleet's away, and break of day to the northern beach and the Norway deeps, to the banks and knolls of the North Sea walls, and the herring shoals are found.
When I first went to the fishing, it took a sort of hold of me. Whenever we came back on shore to try another job, somehow the sea always took you back.
Oi!
Oh, that's me they're calling for, Sal. And I answered. Oh, yes, I did, I answered.
Pa were away when Sam were born. Andy were away when Esme were born 3 years later. Never saw him no more. Went overboard in a North Sea shoal. Now, there's just the three on us.
There were about 300 men and boys in our village, fishermen. My old man were one on. He died when I was just a little. Never saw much of him neither. He were away at sea, or when he was ashore he was down the pub. All I remember of him is this grit old beard and the terrible smell of baccy fish and beer. And him leering at me or playing it right rough. I didn't like that much, neither. And then, when we left school, That was sea or jail for us. I left school when I was 12 years old. Felt like a big man. Oh, yes, sir, he did. And then you had to sign on. When I got home, my mother said, "How'd you get on?" I said, "I signed on, Ma. We're going to sea tomorrow." That's me, 12 years old. Yep. Thought I was a big man, all right.
It's up with the dawn and the sea moves on, and down to yonder quay.
Kevin Moore had a little boat called the Young John, 1892.
To fish this snow, where the big seas roll.
Little sailboat, about 40 ton.
Right!
You know, there's dread. There's no point in people saying they don't have that dread, because they do when they first go to sea. You get that feeling that you won't come. You never went light heart. When the tug got hold of you and pull you out the piers, and then she starts to lift. Whoa! And then you began to think about your mother at home.
Right!
I see a toilet telly. So you'll hear up there in front of the smallest tug boy.
Little bloke, you can hardly turn yourself around in it.
Check your scores and stand your ground, and in you go to the ground.
Oh, little Sam, come on.
Let go!
Don't like your fire, put the old kettle on.
Through what's end or fishermen and your boy.
Right!
The galley saving everyone's employed. Hurry, lock, keep your eye on the pots and see you keep your smoking order.
Okay, you have to look round, go on then. One eye on the hand, one up the chimney. That's what you get.
Get washed up and start again. This hunger has no end.
Where did you live on the line?
Feel the sluts and scrub the table. Come on, let's have your young and able. Night and morning, time and yawning. Out of your bunk and make the fire with the sleep still in your eyes.
Norfolk, Norfolk swimmers we used to call them. You know how we got them, but we make them They eat a lot. Yep. Filling up the dumplings so you didn't need no rings. Oh, proper Norfolk feed. That was a proper Norfolk feed. Norfolk swimmers. Of course, they come up like we do when they got gold. Like little boats of bread. Oh, lovely.
Now we're away with the wind has turned, so walk and watch, boy, watch and learn. We're outward bound to the rolling ground.
When you're coming in the harbour, you feel pleased. But when you're going out to sea again, out the harbour, oh, your heart. You're on the knuckle bones of your arse.
There ain't no time for you to stand and stare. You got a job to do, you're in the way, boy, there. You've got to put your time in sand, on some bucket and a frying pan. Be brush and mop and pail before you call yourself a man. Then you can say that you're a fisherman.
The poor little boy is over every shore after that first run out, well, that was joyous. Solid ground underneath your feet and a warm, dry bed.
Esme,
Oh, and Ma's cooking. Edge was growing. They had her at the barrels along a mile right enough. Well, she wasn't big enough to gut, but she could do the graving all right. Oh, and we had a pretty little Scotch girl in the house with us.
Sam were coming up 13, just like his father. And boy, can he eat!
Years ago, you started very young, and you were put through the ropes. Rough it were, rough and ready, and you were put through the ropes.
They were rough old men, you know. Rough they were, roughing. My uncle, you know, he was the one who used to... My Uncle Jim, he used to flog. And then he used to cry after he'd done it. He used to cry after he flogged. He used to cry. God nor man, they didn't, and that's the fact. They were wicked old men. Oh, now and again you find a kind one, but some of them, they were cruel. You weren't allowed to speak. They'd take a wind to loose end before they'd even look at you. Put the rope on your backside if you get in trouble. And you know what? Sometimes I'd have been sleepy and they'd throw a bucket of water over you and wake you up. Wake up, you young buggers! They chuck a bucket of water over you and make you shake the buggers. Oh, that would wake you up.
Oh, we fished the Swan and the Broughton-Squire. I was cook and I had quarter sharing. And I used to sleep standing on my feet. And I dreamed about the shoals of herring. Oh, we left the home grounds in the month of June. And to Annie shields we soon were wearing. With 100 crown of the silver darlings that we'd taken from the shores of herring.
When we went to Shields, I was looking on deck to see the Shields rear up. I could see them coming. All that bare fun going into Shields here. Strange and exciting to see the different years of life. I'd never been away from home before. Away from home. We went to South Shields that night. The little boys. We went across the ferry and over to South Shields. Now, I was like these other boys. I forget what theatre we went to, but I'll tell you what was on. The Wages of Sin. And in the final act, the hero come in and he said, "The wages of sin is death." And he shot him. He shot him in the final act. In 1896, I thought, I've had enough of this cooking business. Planned on going deckhand in the Snowflake. So I've been a cook for 4 years before I got my berth as deckhand.
Now you're up on deck, you're a fisherman. You can swear and show a manly bearing. Take your turn on watch with the other fellows while you're searching for the shoals of herring.
Sailing over the Dogger Bank. Wasn't it a treat? The wind a blowing about east nor'east, so we had to give our sheep. You ought to see us running, the wind a blowing free. A passage from the Dogger Bank to Great Grimsby. We started at sea in 1892. In the Young John, the John Frederick, Gemini, Thalia, Snowdrop, no, what's that one? Snowflake. That's Snowflake, and then Breadwinner.
Oh, I earned my keep and I paid my way.
I did 8 years aboard sailing boats, and then we were fully qualified. We could do anything there was to do aboard a sailing boat. Knot, splice, mend the net, set the rigging, standing rigging, everything.
And I earned the gear that I was wearing.
The more you sailed the boat, or done things aboard the boat, the more enlightened you got.
Sailed 1,000,000 miles, caught 10,000,000 fishes. We were sailing on the shores of Erin.
There's something human about a sailing boat. How they answer and how we talk to them. Go on, old gal, you can do this, she'll do it. We talk to them just as we talk to a human being. Plus, I was just about ready then. Just about. Served my time and there I was. And then suddenly, the fish started running like nothing we'd ever seen before. The silver darling. The little silver darling.
We had the best gutting team on Yarmouth Quay. Esme were born to it, of course, and she were like lightning. 60 fish a minute between Esme, Rona and me, gutted, graded and packed.
And we had to work at that speed and all. Fish were coming in so fast, more and more being landed, more Scotch girls coming down, 100 teams working dawn to dusk.
We've never seen anything like it. The Scots lads were all right, all Godfrey and Methodists from the Westnars, but the English lads are rolling in drunk the whole time they were ashore, and then off to sea again and bringing more fish in.
But that's how it is, isn't it? All that sea, all that danger, all that weather, no rest, no sleep half the time. They needed it just to get back to being,
There's such a thing as prayer and abstention.
Don't think prayer and abstention would do much for my Sam.
What about us? Dawn till dusk, fingers raw, backs aching, gutting fish. Well, that's hard, really hard work, and we're not drinking it all away.
Well, that's true enough.
Certainly is.
Well, we've got money in our pockets, and Yarmouth is a grand town to spend it in.
It is.
It is.
Well,
Then the big change came. We'd seen it coming, of course, but for the men that were huge.
Look out there, Mom. What is it?
That's the new boat, Esme. That's steam. That's a steam-powered drifter.
that'll be the future, mark me now.
But as regards to work, that was like heaven when we got in the drifters, the steam drifters. Absolutely like heaven.
Yeah, the steam drifter. The loveliest ship for the job that ever was built.
I went in the line. That was the first of the steam drifters that I went in, October of 1899. And that was the first start of good fishing, 1899.
Lights up with your oil and full of steam and your engines speak and stand to fish and run. On the North Sea ground and fish the nose, the North Sea moles. Try your luck with the North Sea stuff with the catch of £100.
That period from 1900 to the start of the First War was a bonanza. That was a gold rush.
No need to wait for windows, hide your masters of the sea. Come roll us walls, just shoot and hold and fill the hold with fishery salt. Steam ahead for the curing check, the piles of Yarmouth Quay. But first you've got to find your fishing spot, your herring shoal. For as long as they're still in the sea, you'll never get them sold. So watch the diving galleys, boys, and notice what he gets. And if you see the whalefish blow, it's time to shoot your nets. With a tooralally, whack my laddie, tooraloo-a-lay.
The gulls and the blowers will tell us. The blowfish, sperm whales they are. They'll come and they'll tell you where the fish are. Now I've seen them big whales where they shoot the smoke right out of their heads. Threat old big one. They'll tell you where the herring are.
When you shot your nets, my lad, you wait for time to pass. And keep one eye upon the clock and the other on the glass. For the sea is wide and deep, and we're going to blow a certain gale. And take your ship and gear and leave no one to tell the tale. With a tooralally whack, my laddie, tooraloo-ronnie.
The sea is lovely, but you can't push it around. The sea. Some say the cruel sea. Sea ain't cruel. That's a natural element. Now, if you get a certain wind blowing a certain force in a certain direction, you get a certain type of sea. When the wind shifts, you get cross sea. You go over a shoal when there's a hail of a tide ripping and a gale blowing, you're likely swamp your ship and drown her. But that ain't seas. That's your fault.
That's true enough. Because when you're in a gale of wind and them big uns come roaring in at you, oh, you can't get out on them. You can't get a way out on them. You got to face it. You know there's death there if one of them gets.
Sea's a thing that doesn't change, you see. A fundamental like the climate or the mountains or things like that, you see. You can't change the sea. So you take your lovely machines and ships and gear out on the sea, but you still got to use them subject to what the sea will let you do.
You see it when it's lovely to be out there. You'll see it when there's a black car. You'll see it when there's just a little air or ripple on it. And you'll see it when there's mountains of boiling water.
When the sea rolls on.
Indicate the stronger blow.
When your nets are stretched out there 2 miles or more. When your nets are stretched out there 2 miles or more. When your nets are stretched out there 2 miles or more.
19 north to Sierra, south to Sierra. Variable, south to southwest 4 to 6. Veering northwest soon and increasing for 7 later. Moderate to rough, good, occasionally warm.
When the wind is rushing to a hill and riding up the mountain stair, and the wind is screaming. Your eyes out on the markets and the buying and the selling and all market prices.
We went on this boat and that came on a gale of wind. That came down to Saturday night and that blew for 3 or 4 days, a living gale. And we were in these little boats.
There was a good breeze when we finished all in. And when it dished out the 6 o'clock weather forecast, we then got it very bad where we were in the North Sea. We'd be somewhere about 50 miles from Lowestoft when that struck us. First of all, she broke the side windows in the wheelhouse. And I eased the ship in and held up to the wind. And I stood by it for the time we patched these side windows up. When she took a tremendous sea. And I shall never forget that sea as long as I live.
14 Fisher, Dogger, northwesterly 6 to 8, thundery showers, moderate to rough, or becoming very warm.
Fast along the ship alive, going along, running high.
imminent, banking westerly, high to very high, very warm.
We can see these great seas coming. And now and again they peel, you know, and break. And once they break, look out! And so I stood in the wheelhouse along with the skipper. I was there the whole blessed night, me and the skipper. Chaps down below, well, they were crying. They were these young chaps, you see. And once you chip to sea, I said, Ted, look out, there's one to go and get. Boy, that come roaring in. I bet you I both stood on her end like that. I bet you she stood up just like that.
You just couldn't see the ship. All you could see was the mast sticking up out the water on her. I thought the ship was gonna founder under her that night. And I think if I'd have lost my nerve, I'd have lost my ship. I realised we couldn't keep driving the ship with the weight of fish we had in her. She just wouldn't lift to the swell, you see. Everything was coming down on top of her. And that took us 36 hours to get in.
That storm's been blowing 4 days now. It's a bad one.
They'll be alright. Sam never loses a ship.
But the sea's cruel, Esme. Real cruel. And that's taken plenty known to me.
Every fall in his heart.
Fisherman's wife.
A fisherman's daughter.
It's hard, the waiting.
But we always keep hoping. And there she is!
I had 2 goes at that, and that frightened me. Then I went again, you see. I was frightened, I'll tell you. Dreaded when we went to see the next. But gradually, that wore off, and you forget it. Just the same for miners, I suppose. Just the same down the mine when they have a disaster. Because really, you can't live with the dead, can you? When they heave the poling net over and they start to shoot the nets, they'll always say, "Heave the nets in the name of the Lord!" And Jesus said, "Shoot your nets on the right side," when they had the big multitude in the Galilee, didn't they?
Take it nice and steady, boys, and start to earn your pay. And mind that you don't shoot too soon and scare the fish away. Don't store and load them all in order, full blown boss and all. With rusty landings, good night, local fish above the hall. With a tooraloo, whack my laddie, tooraloo-a-lay.
Always left. What have we got to get? You, shooting her into the water. Oh, you can't see anything. Pull her out again. There they are. Lovely, bonny hair.
It's busting me, lads, get you up on the decks and take up your stations for hauling the nets. And mind you all together, legs all through the night, and sweating your oilskins until it's daylight. And we're heaving and hauling and shaking the nets. It's when we start hauling, we're living in hope. The boy in the locker, the lads on the rope, and feathers in the hold who are hauling the nets and shaking the herring out onto the deck. And we're heaving and hauling and shaking the nets.
There's nothing more sightly, I don't think, or stately, than a shoal of herring coming over the side.
It's net off the net, it will up from the sea, with the haul and the shake and a 1, 2 and 3. The herring are piling around your sea boots and slithering and sliding down into the chute. And we're heaving and hauling and shaking the nets.
There's nothing can beat it.
Oh, they're lovely herring. You see, when the net is coming over the side, that's like a great sheet of silver. All together, boys, there'd be 5, maybe 6 floating down in the hole out the way, you see. In she comes, everything's kicking up, whoosh! All together, boys, now you get a fresh screw. In comes another one, whoosh! Now, them nets, 35 feet long. If you see that, there ain't no teamwork to beat it. And the fact one of them old hunters in the old tribal days there. You brought it home, the meat, you see. Share it out, do what you like with it. I've done my bit.
The season is over, so be on your way and head for your homeport and sign for your pay. Your news is waiting to welcome you home. It's hard for a wife to be so much alone.
There's nothing like coming home though. Oh, lovely.
All the morning and shaking the nest.
The old gal's waiting for you. Oh, you used to count the days. That was like getting fresh married again when you've been away 10 or a dozen weeks. Reunited again and just as strong as ever. You know, you were hungry. Oh, when you go down the North Sea, you've got plenty of fish come down on you. You get hungry when you go home, didn't you? Oh, yes. Well,
Lovely. They must have had a fabulous time from 1900 up until the First War, because they built 1,800 drifters a day of a year. What am I talking about? Cut the teeth in right. They built 1,800 drifters practically. That's nearly 100 drifters a year, more than probably.
I see men walk across Yarmouth Harbour, jammed right full up. Oh, right chock a block, boats right full up. And there ain't nowhere on the quay to dump the herring. That's when the drifters first came. That's when that was good.
You've never seen anything like it in your life. Every year there were more boats. Every year they wanted more herring. They used to pickle them, millions of barrels, and the gals used to come from all the Scotch places where they lived to do the gutting. You'd see them, hundreds and hundreds of them walking along Yarmouth Quay in great big lines and arm in arm and singing away and lovely bonny red faces. The real kind of, you know, Scotch gals. Oh,
From Canada and from Inver and the Key, from Bucky and from Allen.
been a golden time. But we dismissed all that. Our generation didn't know nothing about that. We came in on a low when the markets were gone. But my generation was lucky in another way. We were too young for the trenches or the navy.
We was out at sea, 1916 must have been, short-handed, but about 100 cran on board, and we was just steaming home about 30 mile off. And then, bless me, suddenly this great grey hump comes up out at sea. I thought it were a whale at first, but it weren't. It were one of them U-boats. And these Huns come out at conning tower, and they got a machine gun mounted, and they shouts across, "Please to abandon your vessel!" And then they fired a burst above us heads. We launched that lifeboat in about 5 seconds flat and scrambled in, and rowed away as fast as we could. And then the buggers shot the Argyle to bits, fish and all. Took us 2 days to row in. We'd landfall at Blakeney. We was in a shocking state.
That happened to a few of the drifters. And then, of course, we lost half the men to conscription, especially in 1917 when the convoys started. And of course, a lot of the men never came back. My dad was one of them. Lost at sea. I suppose we'd be used to that, war or no war. But at least there was still a market for the silver darlings.
Some of us got what they called reserved occupation. So we just carried on fishing. I never saw a squarehead the whole war.
You see, I first went to sea in 1918, and I went youngster in the crowd. I got £100 for the shields fishing and £190 for the Yarmouth fish. And of course that was never the same again. Next year, I don't remember what I earned, but that was terrible low. And of course that never did come better. Year after that, I went wheelman in the Premier to the Shetland Islands. Oh, terrible summer's fishing, that will be caught. Plenty of herring, but we couldn't sell them. 1921, I went mad on the Golden Spray. Now that was the worst year's fishing that ever was known at Yarmouth. No herring, terrible scarcity as fish, as well as the poor markets and all that, you see. Well, that was the year they said they'd pay the men off with stamp cards.
Up jumped the herring, the king of the sea, and he sang out, "Oh skipper, now you can't sell me."
A glut. That's a worry when they're on board. What are they going to make?
Up jumped the herring, the king of the shoal, and he cried, "You do better to be on the dole in this windy old weather."
There was that Winterton chap. They took the house he lived in, and he lost every penny.
Up jumped the herring, all broken and spent, and he cried, "Drifting's finished, so who'll pay the rent in this windy old weather, stormy old weather?"
The years 1924 to 30 were struggling years, but they weren't the deadly bitter years that came after 1930.
Up jumped the herring right under our lee, and he cried, "Ever dump me right back in the sea in this windy old weather, stormy old weather. When the fleet's trapped, we'll all rot together."
The lovely shining silver fish. To me, thou art a wholesome dish. To Lucifer, a shooting star. We fishermen hunt you near and far. In the wild Atlantic or the Channel swell, we do our best to ring your knell. But even in our greatest moments, we respect and fear you in quick and torment. We the hunters, you the hunted, our wealth is by your numbers counted. And should your numbers prove too many, our wealth, well, there isn't any.
Men and ships no longer needed, world of lust and world of hunger, world of scrap and rusting gear.
1929. That is when the grass was growing over the shipbuilding yards.
Markets are lost and the cure is gone. The gear is abandoned, the ropes and the nets. The fires are silent, out of action. Fishermen, try again. Catch and duck them, we'll all go under.
The trading and the fishing was absolute despair. It was just ruin.
Aye. They were the bad years. They were the bad years. You see, boats have to go to sea, dump big catches. Just off Claremont Pier, dumping fish after 8 to 9 hours hauling them. Come in, and you see boats lined up round market, sometimes 2 or 3 deep in them days, and they just couldn't sell them.
Poor old times. Very poor.
No markets, you see. After 1930, you simply could not get a living if your neighbour had got one. What you had to do, you had to go to sea and catch some fish when nobody else had any. Then you got a price. What kind of economy do you call that? Dog eat dog. And of course, this sort of thing was far worse along the Moray Firth where all the Scotch people lived. They had built their homes and fortunes on fishing, and of course the trade had collapsed. I should think there was more poverty along the Moray Firth, Banff, Buckie, Fraserburgh Shields, where all the drifters came from. They was dying out, you see. Absolutely starved out of existence.
Well, we don't want them times back again.
When you see fisher folk, do you know of big shame? They go to the butcher for a threepenny bane. If you something could buy, you're no more caring. All the week round you get tatties and herring. Tatties and herring. Tatties and herring. We are them tatties and Peterhead herring.
Time of the Depression in the herring fishing way back in the 30s. I remember once leaving home and going to Ireland and clannin fishing there for a good few weeks. Came home and started at Fraserburgh, our home port, and worked there till the end of August. Got £5. Came home and refitted and went to Yarmouth and worked till the end of November and got 5 pennies. From the month of April through to the end of November, I got £5 and 5 pennies from my labour at the herring fishing.
Say hi, the little faded flower, that in summertime did bloom.
spent them 2 years just scraping by. There were a new herring industry board, and they limited the catch and the amount of time we could fish. But by then, of course, there were very few of us left in the drifters. Very few. And then, we were listening to the radio, reading the papers, and wondering what the hell was going to happen.
I am speaking to you from the cabinet room of 10 Downing Street. This morning, the British ambassador in Berlin handed the German government a final note, stating that unless we heard from them by 11 o'clock, that they were prepared at once to withdraw their troops from Poland, a state of war would exist between us. I have to tell you now that no such undertaking has been received, and that consequently this country is at war with Germany.
My nephew went off to the Navy, his sister into the Wrens. He came back from the Atlantic convoys. Must have been someone looking out for him. She didn't. Killed by a bombing raid in Liverpool. Where's the sense in that?
My boy, killed in Normandy.
A lot never came home.
We were getting on in years then, Sam and me.
Right. That's true enough. Well, I missed the first one, and I missed the second one and all. But we saw it through. Well, the country, I mean, and oh, when he got us home. But then, well, everything changed. Changed again right enough.
He's 65 now.
Oh, I couldn't help myself. Pulling the sick.
Away with you.
Whereas before the war you had a big, graphic fleet of boats and no market. Now you've got a small fleet and a good market. In fact, the people are sure can't get enough herring. Mind you, there's been a lot of technical developments, what with the diesel coming in, the echo-meter, radar, the position finding, direction finding. The Scotch people must have known that. But the Scotch folk, you see, they're spending more and more time on the west coast. They shoot about at night, and as soon as they mark the herring, pretty boys, over they go. It's a new kind of drifting altogether.
Down through the Sound of Mull here, and out past Tobermory. By the time we get out there, we'll get the forecast and see whether it'll be worth going across. And if Cass will be the decider, oh, maybe have to go north.
I think this is a beautiful country, especially the north of Scotland. You see more of the handiwork of God up here than you do in the flat country. It's wonderful, God's creation. Wonderful.
Come on, you hairy fish, you're better twat than this all year round. Sail to south and northern beach, the fish always went hairy round. With a diesel engine, night on SRT on deck, and the sound of set, through hot empty toilets, away to fish for the herring hole. We're racing through the Sound of Mull, and all the boats are in their bed. Carrie and Connor left behind to shoot targets on Arrowhead. With a diesel engine, night on SRT on deck, and the sound of set, through hot empty toilets, through eyes of fish for the herring hole.
Nowadays, when you go out to sea looking for the herring, you'll wander. You didn't take a set course. Once you get out there, you get the news of what's going on, and then you sort of have your scouts. And then you call them up, get the information from them, and then make a beeline. no matter how good the boat is, it's not like home, you know.
When you're living 10 men in a boat, you subordinate your feelings to those of the crew. Whereas when you're at home, you get back to your individual self and your wife and your family.
The way we work, there's no home life at all. We go home for a weekend every second weekend. Well, it takes about 6 hours to get from here to Fraserburgh. That's only time for a rest at the table and a way back again. With our nets and here with ferries.
sailors seem to get when they come ashore. That's a sort of a sense of superiority, isn't it? Now that's the thing about fishing. The worries at home just don't seem so big anymore. You lie there you are, you've got everything you own. There's no pleasure like getting free of the harbour and all the trammels of the shore. Now you say, where are we going? Well, we can go where we like. We got the whole sea.
You see, proud. He was proud he was a fisher. Fisher born and bred. Never ashamed to be a fisher.
Oh no.